All right, before we begin today's episode, we wanted to give a shout out to our patrons over at Patreon, and those individuals are Eric Sari, Andy Herbrand, we've got Lauren L., we've got Paul C., and we, of course, have Nate Hansen with Hansen Screen Printing. Definitely check out Hansen Screen Printing. They are amazing individuals over there, crafting up fine printed items right there in the heart of Elkhorn, Wisconsin. Let's go ahead and jump in.
Woo.
Hey, welcome to the Wisconsin Drunken History Podcast. We are your hosts, Eric Sturgeon.
And I'm Russell Sari.
This podcast is about all things Wisconsin, history, music, culture, and beer. Although we don't often use strong language, the content is not intended for young audiences, so listener discretion is advised.
If you love the bluegrass music you hear in this intro, please check out Dang It's from Madison, Wisconsin by visiting their website, dang-its.com. Now on to the show.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Wisconsin Drunken History Podcast. It's definitely your weekly dose of the Dairy State, and we are, of course, your hosts, Eric.
And I'm Russ.
And, hey, we have a fine episode today. We are talking about the man that put Wisconsin Dells and Kilbourne City on the map. And this is H.H. Bennett. And, hey, this has been an episode in the making for the last how many?
We've been talking about
it's a
this.
while.
Yeah.
Because we've featured a bunch of episodes about Wisconsin Dells and different Dells lore. So we've definitely been kind of hanging on to this one for a fantastic episode. We have great Wisconsin music from Code and Chrome. We have another beer review. And, of course, an edition of infamous How Many Locals You Have? Wow. And, of course, we have a special interview, a special guest interview. And as we mentioned at the very top of the show, remember to like, subscribe, and do all the things. And, hey, become a Patreon patron. It absolutely is the best way to support the show with kind of that financial end of things. We are completely independent. We do this thing all on our own. We buy the equipment. We completely buy all the beers and all the things, keep all the servers running. It takes a lot of money in order to get these things up into the cloud and then down into your cell phones and things, as well as having a website. So speaking of the website, WisconsinDrunkenHistory.com. That's where you can find links to all of the things. That's Patreon, that's TeePublic, that's episodes, a little history behind the scenes story of Russ and I and our friendship and how things kind of got kicked off. How many ever years ago that was. And like we said, the likes, the rates, the subscribes, all that sort of stuff, it really does help in ways that, for the few seconds that it takes you to do it, it helps us in so many different ways. So let's go ahead and jump in. Our main story today, H.H. Bennett, Wisconsin Dells. Let's jump. Let's go.
Yeah, so this is another one. It's so hard to summarize these when you have full books dedicated to this, right? But I think I did a pretty good job here, and let's begin. So most people know of the water park capital, Wisconsin Dells, but what made this area become the tourist destination we all know? I mean, yeah, there are limestone cliffs and a ton of natural formations due to the receding glaciers pretty much throughout the state that are actually arguably more beautiful than Wisconsin Dells. So what's the spark that led people to this destination as a tourist stop? Well, we are talking about that today. The man behind the Wisconsin Dells, we're talking about H.H. Bennett. Born on January 15th of 1843, born Henry Hamilton Bennett in Farnham, Lower Canada, he was raised as a child in Brattleboro, Vermont. But at the age of 14, Bennett with his father and uncle would settle in the Wisconsin Dells area, which used to be known, as we mentioned before, as Kilbourne City. Henry worked as a carpenter in the town, and he was a Union soldier and joined on his own and fought in the Battle of Vicksburg. He was severely wounded by the discharge of by his own gun, but we have to remember that this wasn't an accident. This is just, unfortunately, that's how the guns were packed back in the day.
Right.
And due to this injury, he could not go back full-time to carpentry. So in 1865, he would go on to purchase the Kilbourne City Photography Studio that was operated by Leroy Gates, and began his career in photography. He married his first wife a year later, Frances Doughty, and the couple had 3 children. This marriage would last all the way up until 1884 as Frances would pass away, but did remarry Evelyn Marshall in 1890 and actually had 2 more children. So that's just a little background on his personal life.
Yeah.
So enough with that. Here's where the photography career that put Wisconsin Dells on the map. As stated, he purchased the Kilbourne City Photography Studio and quickly realized that demand for portraits of people was low in demand in the area. He quickly set his sights elsewhere and realized that the area had amazing and unique characteristics thanks to the receding glaciers, so he decided to set his sights on landscape-style photography. His training as a carpenter would prove very useful in this field, and he would go on to make all of his own equipment except the glass lenses on the camera. He built his own portable darkroom where he could take all this equipment, including the camera and the darkroom, with him to all the fantastic sights that the Dells has to offer.
Wow, that's amazing.
He was even said to take all of his equipment on a boat and went from site to site. And we all know the famous Stand Rock or Witch's Gulch, right? The dog jump, the boy jump. You know, the Witch's Gulch is probably one of the most iconic things you're going to see in the Dells.
Definitely.
In some of his most iconic parts of the Dells. And he soon realized that the landscapes were so intriguing and amazing that two-dimensional photography would lose the depth and the true awe of each site. So he began to create the stereoscopic images, where the photos had to be taken and could be viewed in 3 dimensions. His first photo was taken in 1868, and they soon became very popular and sold in all the cities all over the U.S. And we've talked about the this type of photography regarding the Webster House in Elkhorn. They actually had a viewer inside where you see kind of how everything was all 3D. Right?
Yeah.
As his work started to become more known, and people questioned where are all these amazing landscapes located, right? We see them in all these photos, but they almost look fake. Some people even question if they were somehow faked or made, out of cardboard or something, right?
I mean, for this time, that would be a kind of a wild stretch.
It'd be an incredible feat for sure. And the news quickly spread. And people soon flocked to Kilbourne City just to view these alien landscapes that no one had ever seen before. And his studio would change its name to H.H. Bennett Studio and became a popular location for him to sell postcards and souvenir portraits to travelers passing through the area in 1875.
Wow.
Yeah. And while using this as his way to earn money, he continued to innovate the field of photography and invented a stop-action shutter that allowed him to take instantaneous events. While in the past, it would take several minutes for the camera to take a photograph, and any movement would blur that person out, right? If you're like waving your head around.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, so he came up with that original thing.
Wow. Stop shutter.
Yeah. And after tinkering around and getting his device perfected, he could now take action shots, and probably his most famous shot was in 1886 where his son Ashley jumped back and forth between the Stand Rock, and according to legends, it actually took him 17 times. Which is pretty dangerous if you actually have been to Stand Rock.
Yeah, if you got to jump 17 times.
And now they have a net there for even the dogs that jump, just in case they don't make it, so they don't get hurt. But it's pretty high up.
That's nuts.
And I'm going to be honest, like I said, it's pretty insane. And today, if you take the Upper Dells boat tour, you get to watch the dogs do the same jump, like I said before. And this photograph became such a hit that in 1890, people in Boston gasped as this photo was presented, and people could not believe their eyes of what was happening in this photo, right? You're seeing action happening.
Right, which is wild. I mean, in photographs of 1890, think to yourself 1890.
Yeah.
And then think photographs.
And he would actually become one of the first photojournalists in the world, as he took photographs of the lumber raftsmen that told stories of their life on the rivers of Wisconsin. So photojournalism didn't, you're seeing his portraits of these people that stand still for about 3 minutes while they are, and
which is wild. And then you think of the photography that happened back in that day about how many of them say that there was ghosts in the picture. That's really just somebody moved within the 3 minutes that they had to stand still.
Because they have so much exposure, right?
Yep. Yeah, the shutter speeds weren't the same as what they are now. You could take 1,100 photographs in a minute right now, And that's just a rough figure. But if you hold your finger,
I know what you're
I'm being
saying.
serious
They
though.
can snap a ton of shots.
If you keep your finger held on an iPhone in photo mode, it does burst shot, which is like, I think it's something like that. It's like 1,100 pictures in a minute.
It probably is. I mean, like,
fucking ridiculous.
I mean, think about like when you see a camera speed, all the camera's doing is taking multiple pictures, right?
It's the shutter closing and opening.
And so, when you see like these images, like if you subscribe to a magazine like Thrasher, where they're doing an action movie.
What's a magazine?
I don't know. Maybe people don't know what they are anymore.
Oh, but you're talking about a skateboard magazine.
Yeah, so you have
with the action shot.
Yeah, and what they'll do is they'll chop different sections and put it all as one picture, so you're seeing all the entire movement in the process of the photo.
Essentially, right? It is the same idea as a moving picture, like an actual film, except it's actual film placed out in the same order that it's happening.
Exactly.
And so you get that long exposed shot of a guy doing like a 50-50 grind or a girl doing, like a big fucking ollie or something like that. And it's rad stuff.
But we owe all this to H.H. Bennett, right? He was one of the first ones. Yep.
Look at this guy in the Dells.
So Bennett also innovated the way that pictures were printed and produced, building a revolving solar printing house, where this and much of his equipment are now housed at the Smithsonian Institute, because it is the
rad.
First
and
photojournalism first.
You as well cameras. As I know, the Smithsonian is reserved for like the best and most timeless inventions and things.
Right. And he would essentially become one of the first people to edit photos. And due to photography early, a lot of the photographs left out the detail of the sky and water reflections. And he figured out a way to weave multiple negatives from multiple shots and other photographs of sky and water, making the finished product. So essentially, he's like the first Photoshop, but it's like a hand Photoshop, right?
Right. You got to have a little touch of what's the PBS painter guy name?
Bob Ross.
Oh, you got to have a little touch of Bob Ross, baby.
Put a little, just there's no mistakes.
Let me just put a little Bob Ross in there. Happy trees.
A little happy tree. Little bird. Little bird. And this was not enough to attract attention from a lot of large companies, obviously, because these photographs are incredible, and people are seeing these. They're like, "Oh my God, who is this guy?
Who the fuck is this guy?
Who is this guy? I need to know right now."
That's what people were thinking.
Yeah. So his photography career boomed as everyone wanted him to take photographs, including the railroads, the World Columbian Exposition Fair, aka the World's Fair, which we talk about a lot.
World's Fair, huge.
And he was the main photographer. He was one of the main photographers in the World's Fair and multiple other places, and also the Ice Palace in Minnesota, to just name a few, right? I mean, he was like the main photographer for multiple other things. I can't put them all in one episode. So,
the Ice Palace.
And due to all these innovations of portable cameras,
shit palace. I don't know.
Oh my!
I don't know.
The old Ice Palace is the shit palace, huh?
The old shit palace there.
And due to all these innovations, portable film cameras started to become widespread because of these innovations. And these in 1890s, they became kind of widespread, right? So now everyone has these portable cameras they can bring with them and do their own photography.
Yeah.
And these innovations that he made led much of his success. Also helped his downfall, right? Like he created a monster.
Right. I mean, if you give people the same technology that you have in your hands to create these wonderful photographs, then they can just do it themselves, and thus sparking this gigantic world of point and shoot cameras that we have on the market today. Clearly, the technology isn't as good as like the DSLRs that exist, but like a point and shoot 12 megapixel camera is pretty damn good. Whereas, the DSLR has a much better shutter, much better exposure, all that sort of stuff. But, hey, I'm not going to spend hundreds of dollars to have you come and shoot something that I could just do with my damn cell phone,
Exactly. And obviously you can see what's happening.
So this created that downfall.
Exactly. And no one came to the Dells anymore, went to him to take a photograph. And, people just took their own souvenir photographs, so obviously there's no need for postcards or portraits anymore. So that pretty much wiped him out of a lot of that business. He would continue to do what he did and continued practicing his profession all the way up until his death in 1908. After his death, his family continued on the practice, remodeling the H.H. Bennett studio in 1917, and his ascendants continued on all the way up until 1999. But today it's actually run by the Wisconsin Historical Society and is open to tourists to come by and visit. And we owe like a lot of the modern age. Obviously, even social media owes a lot to H.H. Bennett, right? Instagram models or whatever the heck people are nowadays.
Yeah, influencers and that kind of thing. Anybody who takes any sort of photographs is truly in debt and indebted to H.H. Bennett and the different advancements that he made in photography. And I think the one thing that you and I can probably both sort of align on here is that, of course, there are still things that you would want to hire a professional photography individual for. You know, we hired one for our wedding. There's nothing better than a couple of individuals who know what they're doing with a damn camera, because you and I mean, we shoot our own little promo vids and behind the scenes brewery tours and stuff that we do, and it's we're awful at it.
Yeah,
I mean, you give any just anybody, any Joe Schmo a damn camera, it doesn't mean it's going to turn out great. And that's truly the story here, is that H.H. Bennett was an artist in that regard. He knows what he's doing with a damn camera.
And, you know, even on that note, I mean, I can't justify buying a $5,000 camera when it comes to lenses and everything. Like, I can't justify that, right? That I could probably take some pretty good photographs. I can't justify buying a $5,000 camera, right? SLR with multiple lenses and stuff, you know.
Look at us. We've got thousands of dollars in guitars behind us here. I mean, you hand me a $1,200, $2,000 guitar, I'm going to sound just as good as I was on, like a Walmart first act thing, and that's the case, is that, like, H.H. Bennett, he may have caused and created his own downfall, his own undoing by creating more of these point and shoot cameras that are readily available for everybody. However, you can't hand somebody the ability to take a picture
right.
and do it well. So for this, we're forever indebted to H.H. Bennett and the studios there in the Wisconsin Dells, and I'm glad that they kind of kept all that up. I mean, like you said, all the way up until 1999, and today is now kind of run by the Historical Society. I'm glad that they got their damn hands on it.
Yeah, I'm glad it's still there and for everyone to see, because Wisconsin Dells wouldn't be the Wisconsin Dells without H.H. Bennett's help and his influence on the area. I mean, you can go anywhere in the state. There's arguably, if you go further up north, you're going to see some more really cool, like better stuff than the Dells, right? But because of these photographs and attracting people to the area, we owe all the Wisconsin Dells as fib territory because of H.H. Bennett and attracting people to the area, spending money in our state, which we're not going to complain about. So that's going to conclude our main segment on H.H. Bennett, but on to our music segment.
All right. Our music segment today is sure to be an absolute ear-gasm. So we have a really close friend of ours, Sam, and he is normally just this prolific drummer, I would say, and then he started doing this solo stuff during the kind of the height of COVID, and doing everything. I helped him out on one of the albums, the first album, with some bits and pieces, but he's doing an amazing job of literally creating these amazing songs.
It's really
all on his own.
It's really cool, very experimental,
and then
branching out.
And then he started this group called Code and Chrome with an individual that he's never met before in person, and they were sending files back and forth with each other, and kind of gave it this band name, Code and Chrome. And the song that we're featuring today is called For Now. And I'm telling you what, man, again, this is a very experimental, very electronic forward type music. And, we kind of I feel like we almost introduced Sam into that kind of almost like punk pop era back when we were doing Drop Dead Dream.
Yeah.
And you and I were very heavy in the synth.
Synthesizers were hard.
I wrote all those synth parts. You remembered them all. You recorded, I think, two of them.
Parts of them.
I recorded one of them.
Yep.
In terms of the actual album versions. But, you and I were very experimental in the keys and really wanted to kind of move forward on that. And Sam, he jumped even further on that, which is amazing.
Arpeggiators and all kinds of stuff, just the things we didn't hit.
Yes, and the music itself is phenomenal. And then I love Sam's vocals. I mean, he never got a chance, I don't think, with us, or even with some of the stuff with your brother Monty. I don't think he really had a chance to showcase his vocals. And what I really love about Sam these days is that he's really taking another step and showing everybody just exactly his range. I mean, he's absolutely amazing. And so, hey, here's Code and Chrome for now.
Slow to speak his mind and hides beneath the sea. The undertow had caught the soul, spit me up on the beach. We may lose control, for now it's just what we need. I know I'll be swimming out again, and maybe something that I can do. For now I'm burning on my t-shirts. For now they're bleaching off the bleachers. For now they're working overtime. Now I'm taking all my time. Stare it down the way you found the best of the fire in your face. It's numbing how he got by without the taste. It may cash us out for now, but we can make the change. I know it's like it's burning down on me, and lately there's nothing that I can do. What I do to know that it's bleeding out of me. Best is yet to see, but your radio tells it like it's so. For now I'm burning all my t-shirts. For now they're bleaching off the bleachers. For now I'm burning all my t-shirts. For now they're bleaching off the bleachers. For now they're working overtime. For now I'm taking all my time. For now I'm burning all my t-shirts. For now I'm bleaching off my t-shirts. For now I'm burning all my t-shirts. For now I'm bleaching off my t-shirts. For now I'm burning all my t-shirts. For now I'm bleaching off my t-shirts. For now I'm burning all my t-shirts. For now I'm bleaching off my t-shirts.
All right.
That was awesome.
That was Code and Chrome with For Now. And kind of as we were listening to this, I off mic was telling Russ that it reminds me a lot of Death Cab for Cutie, Gold Rush.
Yeah, I agree.
And just one of those really, really great songs by one of those classic bands. And then Sam and Code and Chrome, there's another guy involved. I don't remember his name. Sam told me it, but they're just absolutely phenomenal, man. I love the fact that, like, they've never met in person. It's what you and I have talked about for years about sending each other tracks.
One of those back and forth things.
Yeah,
right?
and just building. And Blink-182 did it back in the day with their last album with all the original members, kind of. And I say kind of because Travis Barker's not an original, but Neighborhoods. A lot of those tracks were sent between Tom in San Diego and Mark and Travis in Los Angeles, and they just would send project files back and forth, and it's kind of becoming the new age of music. So we now have a beverage review, and this one is we're back with Company Brewing,
which is cool. I mean, this is nice because I've never had a lot of these.
Yeah, and this one again is another really tasty beverage. However, it is hard.
This one's hit me hard.
Yeah, so this one's called what? Zigora
Major.
Zigora
yes.
Major.
Zigora Major.
It's got Bigfoot or something on there.
Yeah, it
multiple
has like
big feet.
Silhouettes of big feet in red and blue.
Yeah,
it's a Belgian style triple ale, so you know it's going to be hard,
triple.
right?
Anytime it's triple, there's going to be
you're going to get wrecked, bro.
Well, so more sugar was put in, and sugar is then broken down by yeast. Yeast turns into alcohol. Then the yeast has sex with the sugar in order to create the right. Am I right?
No, it actually it consumes the sugar and releases a gas, which is the gas you're getting the alcohol. Right.
So the yeast and the sugars, they make a fart baby that's called liquor,
Yeah, exactly. So this one, obviously, it's huge, right? I mean, a triple ale, you know it's going to be a high ABV, 9.5% ABV.
This one's at 9.5, yeah.
So it's hard. I mean, it's hitting hard.
This Belgian-inspired strong ale gets its name from the place where it's brewed, our home beyond the hill.
Yeah, Zigora Major. And, it's really good. I do really like it. And, somebody who loves Belgian ales and that, like, beet sugar taste, that, we've all had the Belgian ales, right? If you haven't, go and try them out. I recommend starting with some of, maybe the lighter ones. Delirium Tremens, maybe, to start with. You know who
I was going to talk to about that was Paul from Pet Skull. Delirium Tremens, because you and I had a chance to go to Colorado, and we had a lot of really awesome beers, and but Delirium Tremens was one of those ones. We talked to Paul about a lot of different beer, but Delirium Tremens was one of the ones that I kind of wanted to bring up to him because it's a legendary beer that you got to try, and I think that Zigora Major sort of follows in the footsteps of that. And it is heavy. It's hefty. It's a very, very it's a heavy beer. It's just yeah. Wow. The only word I can think of is heavy.
Yeah. No. I mean, it's very good. It's obviously 9.5%. You're not going to want to drink this one every day, but it's a very tasty beer. It's like nightcap, right? Or if you're gonna be. You're not really leaving in a while. You're at a buddy's house. Bring one of these. Have a couple of these. You're going to be good.
Yeah.
To be honest.
My favorite part about the Zigora Major from Company Brewing is honestly, it doesn't pair well, I don't think, with a lot of foods. But after a meal, I think that this is the perfect beer kind of just after you drink or after you eat a big meal.
I am getting, maybe a little back taste. Like, it wouldn't be bad with something maybe like a drier meat, like a turkey or a pork.
See, that's kind of what I was thinking too.
Like a drier meat. This one would probably go pretty good with. Obviously I'm not an expert, but that just from my personal and I don't myself.
And I don't mean to say that it doesn't go well with food. What I'm saying is the way that I kind of foresee myself enjoying it is I've just had a big plate of food, tacos, or like you said, kind of like that pork carnitas, steak, something like that. And then I'm resting. And then I was like, I would like to finish this off with a nice brew.
I just want to pass out.
Yeah,
Right?
and this 9.5 is like, trust me, and it's flavorful enough. So that's the other thing is, I don't mean to say like it's heavy and that to be the only descriptive term I use. It's very flavorful.
No, it is. It's delicious.
Incredibly good. It is absolutely the perfect end to whatever plate you're putting down.
Yeah, and if you ever want to learn too about Belgian or Trappist ales, as they call them, sometimes monk beer, whatever you want to know, there's a lot of really cool information about them, and they're pretty neat.
And
how
Russ
they used
has
to make
all
them.
of it.
I'm huge into brewing, so we've made some Trappist ales. We've made some golden Trappist ales, like Belgian styles.
It's been years though since you and I have actually cooked up a good recipe, and I was thinking, man, if you still have the gear,
We do, yeah.
I mean, let's bring it here to
We can
Muskego.
film a Patreon or something.
Yeah,
Show them how to
I
brew
was just
some
gonna
beer.
say, like,
yeah.
you and I could easily talk about, especially that first mash process.
Yeah, how we're doing it, because we're a little different. We're using a one vessel method.
We're using
where
a one vessel
steeping.
method, and we're steeping, and then once we're done steeping, like a big tea bag, we pull all of the grain out, and then we have to quickly cool it.
Yep.
And so Russ and his dad actually created a really cool quick cooling method using just your normal tap at home.
Yeah.
And so
Some
that would be
connections and stuff for it.
right.
So
It's a coil.
So actually, you're making your wort, but then you got to boil and throw in your hops, and then you're gonna cool it down with your chiller, right?
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah. And then once we're at that point, yeah, my dad did help me with some connections and stuff, and it works really well. Cools it down quick. It's pretty neat.
And it creates for the most part, Russ and I have worked. We've perfected. Yeah, we've perfected a lot of our smash hops, like we've talked about 100 times.
Because we want to, like, the reason for a smash hop is you want to get the flavor of the hop to know what you can mix together for future beers, right?
Yeah,
that's why we did that a lot of times to get some experimentation.
It's really become a cool stepping stone for us to figure out like the type of flavoring that you're going to get from one single hop.
Yes.
In order to balance and like perfect the pairing with another hop.
Exactly. So if you haven't heard of smash, it actually means single malt and single hop. So
Right.
you're using a single malt and a single hop to get the flavors that you're looking for future beers. And they're actually really tasty, to be honest. Like smash beers are amazing. Don't get me wrong. But like when you're trying to like maybe advance your brewing and try to make your own custom with different hops, it's just a cool way to start.
Right. And honestly, it has become an absolutely amazing thing that Russ and I have now kind of gained as home brewers.
And Eric, where did you find Zigora Major? Is this another one, Total Wine?
Total
again?
Wine, yeah.
Yeah, this is really cool. It's awesome because I haven't heard of Company Brewing, and it's nice to have back-to-back beers. And these are just really good, delicious beers. And make sure you pick them up and check them out at your local market if they have them.
Grab a seat, gather round, join us for a chat. How many locos you at?
All right, folks, you know what that means. How many locos you at, a.k.a. bad news for Wisconsin drunk driving here.
Yeah,
So-
if you've been drinking and driving, you're going to be called out here.
Yeah, baby.
So the headline here is Wausau woman faces 5th OWI after quick trip confrontation.
No, another quick trip, dude. We're on the trio
I
here.
know.
We got a lot of quick trip involved.
And let me tell you, she looks like she could use.
Those intake photo didn't go well.
She needs a nap.
Yep, take a nap there.
So we have in Wausau a complaint about a 41-year-old woman allegedly trying to get 3 juveniles into her car at a Wausau Quick Trip led to her arrest on felony drinking and driving charges. The individual of Wausau is behind bars Wednesday on a $5,000 cash bond. She faces charges of 5th OWI offense, operating while intoxicated, that is, and of driving while revoked. The charges were filed June 3rd in Marathon County. And let me just tell you right now, the police were called at around 10:28 p.m. It's never good. You're almost at 11 o'clock.
Yeah,
and
holy smokes.
So this was on Friday, May 31st at Quick Trip on Wausau Avenue for a report of suspicious circumstances. Incident involving 3 children, ages 11, 12, and 14. The children told an employee at the store about a woman in her 40s yelling at them and telling them to get in her car.
Holy smokes. If I was 14, I might have, though. I'm pretty greasy.
I probably got in her car.
Yeah.
I don't know where we're going, but
Yeah.
I'll do it.
A rubbing Tizog.
Yeah, well, maybe.
You know.
The employee confronted the woman, who then drove off, but not before the employee took down the pickup's license plate number, which is always the downfall, right? You've got that identifier on the front and back of your vehicle.
Not good.
Everybody knows who you are. So the police used the plate number to locate the individual at her address, where she appeared obviously intoxicated, the words of the police officers, and had balance issues standing and walking. So, according to court records, this individual is initially claimed to have she was with someone, I guess, and that person was driving the pickup. I think we know that that's not true. The 3 children then confirmed that the woman was behind the wheel of the vehicle. An allegation then was solidified through surveillance video provided by Quick Trip.
Never lies. Holy
So there were cameras. So the individual allegedly refused sobriety tests and was taken to the Wausau Hospital for a chemical blood test. And the results, as of the time of this article,
are pending. Right.
So we know now that those are in, and she was hammered.
All right, so what do we got? Early 40s. Not her first time DUI. We got
her previous
minors involved.
Her previous ones were in 2013, and then guess what? 2014.
So they're back-to-backs.
3 of them in 2014.
Okay. What?
So she had 1 in 13, 3 in 14.
So these are back-to-back-to-back.
And then another one in 2020.
Holy smokes. Okay, so we have her age 41, drunk. This is a bad time in her life. She's having some rough difficulties here. She has 3 minors involved. She's been drinking hard, having some difficulties, but I might think she might be a little higher on the local level.
I'm telling you right now, she was trying to convince 3 minors to get into her pickup truck. She is 1,000% hammered.
Okay.
She is having a ham sandwich. She's in so much rough shape, I don't even know what to say.
All right. So, yeah, I don't know what to say on this one.
I mean, I've got a number.
You got a number?
It's beautiful.
Okay, do you want to do it on 3?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
16.
I was going to go 12. Sorry,
Okay.
I didn't say it. But so I think we need to meet in the middle here. I think we need to go with the 14 loco.
Yeah.
This woman's probably having some problems in her life. Obviously, those 3 back-to-back in 1 year. No wonder she had a revoked license, right? I mean, there's no question why the revoked license was there.
She couldn't have a license.
The minors involved. I think this is a good number. Unfortunately, I kind of feel bad for her because I think she's probably in a rough point in her life. If these are back to back, these are the only ones she's ever had in 3 years.
Yeah.
These are 3 years of 5 DUIs, right?
Yeah.
So there's some rough stuff going on in her life. I hope she got some help. But I think that's a good number, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, she did it in 2013, and then in 14 she had 3, and then now in I believe the article is 2020. It may have been different, but she gets another one. I mean, this is 5, and the bulk of them come in 2014. Yeah, she definitely needs help, man, but she could have sought after that years ago. And that's the point, is that she needed help years ago. I will definitely settle with you. What did we say, 14?
Yeah, we're going in the middle though, right? Because 12 and a 14, we're going 13 local.
Okay.
So you want to go 13 local on this one? I think that's a good number.
Yeah, let's go with that.
Sure, let's go 13 local. Sound the gavel, Eric. All right, today we're here with Tigera. You might recognize them from the Ali Evinrude episode, and if you haven't got a chance to check them out on Spotify or their Bandcamp, please do, because their stuff is freaking amazing.
It's bomb, dude. It's bomb. I love it.
So can you guys give me a little bit of history about the band and how you guys got your start?
Sure. Yeah. So we started off a couple years ago. So I'm Ben, the guitar player for Tigera, and me, the other guitar player Alex, and our drummer Dale got together just kind of on a whim. Dale had reached out to Alex through Craigslist, of all places.
Wow.
And
Okay.
he knew me from, years ago. We ended up getting together and just kind of jamming out to like whatever they had already written for. Originally, this band was a lot like shared a lot of DNA with like a Black Keys type of sound.
Okay.
But over time, we just kind of evolved. We found Dev. Basically, after we found Dev, that's when we sort of realized, all right, now we know what we got to do. And so ever since then, it's kind of been, we finally have a finalized lineup, and that's pretty much that's sort of the abridged version. If we got into the details, it involves like 20 different people, but
Yeah.
that's how we got here.
Well, and I'll say too, the sound from Devin is absolutely amazing, but I love the full concept of the band. I just think that everything really comes together in the full track. I really Russ and I talk about it a lot because we're both what I'll go ahead and say is former musicians.
We're getting old.
We haven't done anything anything recently, and other than jam or play covers or something. But you guys are just on a level that I don't think we ever had a chance to hit, and I love it. I absolutely envy everything about your musicianship.
Thank you. We definitely, we feel it in practices. We feel it on stage that we all, as musicians, there's something about the chemistry there that we really just bring out the best in each other. And when we're writing, we're I guess it's something about the process or just.
It's worth saying that like those, there's 6 songs out, right? But like each of those songs pretty much like got a month to, in some cases, like 2 or 3 months of like dedicated, how are we going to make this sound good?
Mm-hmm.
So it really, like, the writing process for us is a very democratic process, and that everyone in the room has say in the direction the song goes.
Yes.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And as a result, we just spend a lot of time working on these. So it's very kind of you to say. We really appreciate the compliment.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I was going to ask too, like, obviously, like, it's Midwest, right?
Yeah.
But I know there's bands like, like Mute Math, they have a similar sound, but honestly, I think you guys do it better. And I'm saying that from like the depths of my heart. You guys have been like one of those episodes. I always go back to the Ali Evinrude episode just to listen to your music. And not only that, but Spotify, obviously Bandcamp, it's one of my favorite guests we've had.
And I think Russ was sort of on the outs as far as I reached out to you guys to be able to use music from you on the show. But the minute that I showed it to Russ, it was almost like he took on a whole different fandom, and it was wild. It was good. It was. Well, obviously we realize that we've been pronouncing the name wrong now. Tigera.
Tigera. Holy smokes, man.
Which no disrespect meant.
Just
obviously.
so you know, like, I'm not stalking you guys or showing my ding ding around your houses.
Are you?
Just so you know, no.
That's weird, man.
Okay.
That's weird. Because I did.
On the pronunciation thing, Tigera sounds like something that'd be good on a brato. Like, I would like eat that.
I would put a little bit on there.
A Tigera pepper.
I would, yeah.
Ooh, a Tigera pepper.
Holy smokes.
I'd sprinkle a little Tigera on whatever I had, to be fair. Now, let's talk. I know you said that you play guitar in the band. I mean, what kind of talk me through the gear. I'm a gear nerd. I'm a gear nerd in its entirety. What guitar are you using? What amp are you using? Do you have any like notable pedals?
Sure. So so what you hear on the recording and what we do live, we've sort of moved away from traditional amplifiers a little bit, and right now the 2 guitars we use Line 6 Helix floor units,
Okay.
which basically is like amp emulation. To give you an idea as to what my amp is trying to emulate, it would basically be two Vox AC30s
Okay.
running in tandem, going through like three different compressors. Three overdrive pedals, and then a couple of reverbs and delays.
Okay.
In my personal rig, I mean, if we're playing live at a place like Bremen or something like that, where the sound system is a little more difficult, I use a PV Delta Blues 210
Okay.
amplifier, so two 10-inch speakers, 30-watt tube, and my main overdrive pedal, where I think most of the tone comes from, is this Maxon OD9 Plus or something like that.
Right. It's probably almost like a TS9 kind of, clone or something like that.
Yeah, it's a Tube Screamer clone. I mean,
Yeah.
it's super cool. I mean, and honestly, like, between you and I don't even really like the way it sounds, but like I spent so much money on it when I was a kid that I was like, all right, I have to find a way to
you put it in the chain either way,
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna stay because I can't stomach the fact. I don't even want to get into it. But,
Yeah.
but
No,
I
I hear you.
I'll leave with the most interesting one, which is the guitar. We both use Strats on stage. Mine is kind of like a parts caster that my friend Phil put together for me, and I got it. I don't know. It's kind of, for me, it's a magical guitar. Because my grandma had passed away, and within a couple days of that happening, I was working at a yogurt shop, and then all of a sudden a FedEx guy shows up with a big old rectangle. He's like, "Is Ben here?" I go, "Oh, okay, sure."
Yeah.
And I unboxed this just gorgeous pink guitar that my friend built for me out of the blue.
Nice.
And so I named it Geraldine.
Nice.
That's cool.
That's the main one.
And now it's a parts caster. I hear you. Is there any bit about it that is Fender, or is is it all just Frankenstein?
So as I understand, so the only thing about it that's Fender technically is when he built it. So my friend works for Dave's Guitar Shop. Are you?
Yeah, absolutely. Lacrosse and Milwaukee has one, and
yeah.
Yeah.
So he is a luthier there. And,
Cool.
He ended up, he basically built it out of spare parts that he had lying around. So I think the neck is actually a WD neck.
Sure.
Nice.
And the body, I think, is an all parts thing, and he doesn't know what the pickups are, but
Okay.
he stripped a black Strat body and then refinished it in shell pink.
Okay.
And then he relicked it himself. So
Yeah.
there's no Fender DNA on it, maybe outside of the tuning pegs.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, this was about a year ago. I went to Cream City looking for a Strat. I had Strats growing up. Those are like the first guitars I ever learned on. And I went there looking for a Strat in particular and was like, I really want that single coil sound. I want that 3-way blade. And I ended up getting the Fender Eric Johnson, and it's the Virginia remake, like a 54 Virginia remake. And I'll tell you what, man, there's just something about 3 single coils that just make that damn thing sing. I don't know what the hell it is. And and this one is particularly, it's sassafras. It's not even alder like most Fender bodies. So it's like a whole different sing. It's so good.
And you picked. So I happen to know a little bit about guitar because I also work for a guitar shop. But I will say that the Eric Johnson's really cool. That's a 12-inch radius on the board, right?
It is, yeah. So it's almost flat.
Oh.
It's a different radius than most normal Strats, I think. Which, yeah, you're absolutely keen to, yeah.
Yeah, I mean if I was gonna buy a signature model today, I probably would pick up the Eric Johnson because I don't know what kind of pickups he's using either. And
Yeah.
I feel like we may have lost some people here, but definitely that's a really cool guitar.
Yeah, and I love it. The only other signature model that I think I've ever really loved and I've owned is the Tom DeLonge, the Fender Strat with the single Invader pickup. So,
do you still have it?
I do. Yeah.
Oh man, the yellow one?
No, mine's the seafoam green thing.
Nice.
Oh, that's rad.
Yeah. So.
That's so cool.
Yeah, Russ and I are definitely, like I said, just very, very musician forward. We understand what you all go through and what you're experiencing and the fun that you guys have in practices and then obviously on stage. Once the first note comes out, all of that anxiety sort of sheds and it's just a fun time.
Oh, absolutely.
But no, like honestly, we love what your guys sound. And I was gonna kind of ask, what are some of your influences with the music?
Yeah.
Influences. That's a tricky question.
I know.
All of us. I mean, there's 5 of us, right?
Yeah.
All of us come from pretty insanely different music backgrounds and music tastes. You know. Some of us listen to black metal. Some of us listen to bluegrass. Some of us listen to, old school country. Some of us listen to like hip hop, like it's all across the board and we all bring that together into this. And as we were saying before about writing, that's one of the factors.
Yes.
As for who we try to channel when we're writing, we really look at groups like Ben said before, like the Black Keys or 1975 or Muse, groups like that.
Yeah, and I think you guys are definitely hitting it. I mean, if like I said, like Midwest, it's so hard to get your name out there when it comes to music.
Well,
and,
and it's such a weird market to sort of to think about, but a lot of really great bands have come out of Wisconsin, and it's just at least for Russ and I, we think of every single band that we feature on this pod as like the next thing that's going to hit.
Yeah,
and like,
yeah, for sure.
I'm sure we said it about Tigera even when we used the music, and then we just said it about one of the ones today, and it's just. Yeah. We want so much for all of you, and anything that you think that we can do for you, hey, reach out to us. I'm willing to to bend over backwards to help.
Holy smokes.
Anything that you guys want or need. Our studio isn't big enough, I don't think, to record you guys, but even if we were, it would be like that's free studio time. Tigera's in here at no cost,
Well, hey, not for nothing. I mean, you guys put on a really great podcast. I mean, the hardest thing about it is being consistent. You guys have gotten some really pretty big names. I have to imagine that David Gruber's the white whale for you, but
yeah,
one step at a time.
But no, guys, thank you so much for your time today. And we love the music. I'm so glad you guys were willing to come on today.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you. And I just listened to the rest of the EP, and I love everything that's come out. To be honest, I'm so glad you guys are on here. So.
Yeah.
Thank you. We're glad to be here.
Yeah, and hey, next show, if we could get some backstage laminates, man, we're not worthy, bro. We're not worthy. All right.
No need to ask twice. We're on it.
All right, man. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time today, and have a great rest of your holiday weekend here.
Yes, happy Labor Day.
All right, thanks, guys.
All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, that concludes this episode of Wisconsin Drunken History Podcast.
If you enjoyed this vulgar display of Wisconsin, please like and subscribe on whatever streaming platform you prefer. And remember to hit the bell on YouTube to be notified when we release new content.
Also, if you have any suggestions or ideas for future episodes, please send us an email at widrunkenhistory@gmail.com or head over to our Facebook and Instagram pages.
Thanks again for listening, and remember, as always,
Watch out for deer on your way home.